Well, hi, everybody. It is Tuesday, the 10th of January, 2023. My name is Larry Jacobs, and this is Pre-K-12 Education Talk Radio. Thank you for being with us today, or perhaps you're listening on the archives, and you know that we archive everything over at our home website, which is ace-ed.org, ace-ed.org, the home website of our American Consortium for Equity in Education. All of our podcasts are over there, including this one, which we're going to talk about great free resources in social studies and CTE, Career Technical Education, with our good friends from izzit.org. That's IZZIT. And over at our website, we also have our magazine, which is called Equity and Access Pre-K-12. It's an online journal. Just click on the cover and enjoy it. Okay. SEL Today is linked over there. Teacher-retention.com is linked over there, plus tons of other news that our great editor, Maya Appleby, puts up on there every day. So please check it out. Everything over at ace-ed.org. And as mentioned, great free resources in social studies and CTE from my friends at izzit. And we've got my friends from izzit here. That's Dean Graziano and Susan Gable. Ladies first. Good morning, Susan, in Erie, Pennsylvania.
Good morning, Larry. Happy New Year.
Same to you, my dear. Same to you. Was it a Happy New Year in Erie?
It was.
Did you get hit by that snowstorm? Did you get hit?
Only a little, not anything like Buffalo. Luckily, we're not in the same, end of the lake. Poor Buffalo.
Yeah.
The winds go right across the lake, and they are right at the end of it, and that's why they sometimes get hammered like that. We sometimes do, but not this time, thankfully. So
I'm glad you didn't. And Buffalo, they've had a bad year. They had the terrible mass shooting. They've had several snowstorms. Everybody knows the story, okay? But the Bills are heading into the playoffs very strong, and I'm happy about that. Okay, so good old Buffalo. Even though I'm a Patriots fan, okay, Patriots are out, Buffalo's in. I hope they win. All right. What do you think about that, Dean?
Well, Happy New Year, Larry.
Thanks, buddy.
Happy
you too.
New Year. I'm a Dolphins fan, so I'm apprehensive about finally making the playoffs without a quarterback. But we'll see what happens. If the weather holds out, at least the game will be played.
Which we could do a whole show on this, so just answer it quickly. A Dolphins fan? Where did this come from? Right.
South End of Springfield, Massachusetts, Nick Buonaconti. Dad grew up in the South End of Springfield, and to go see when he came back, a Super Bowl champ undefeated, 1973, 9 years old. There's no other team.
Okay, I'll give you that. That's okay. Okay, that's good. Yeah, that was a good rationale for the whole thing. Okay, and just don't wear a Dolphins T-shirt at the Patriots game. You should live through the experience. Okay, that's all I have to say.
Will do.
Dean's a VP over at izzit.org, which is one of my favorite companies out there because, we always talk about under-resourced schools, and really there's so many great free materials out there. I mean, great stuff that teachers can use. It's not junk, okay? It's great materials. Okay, and we work our hardest here to make sure that, because we're an equity organization, we want to make sure that schools have access so that these kids can learn, and that's what you guys want to do too. All right, and Dean, just give us a quick rundown about izzit. Just tell everybody about it. That's IZZIT.org. Go ahead.
All right, great. Well, for over 16 years, we have created top shelf, top quality educational resources, video-based, that have so much more to just that. There are supplemental materials that come along for the video piece. We have many lessons for the teachable moments, those short bites that Susan said so many times on the show that really help at the beginning of a class, during, prior knowledge, existing knowledge, future knowledge. We have teachable moments. Those little bites have mini lesson plans. We've got some activities, the Unlock, the Beat the Clock, the Passport, that really help keep learning going during breaks all the time, summer vacation from learning. So we've got a lot of stuff going, and we are going to share with you today some amazing new stuff that we have cooking.
That is just great. And again, Susan, do you want to add anything to that, Susan Gable?
I want to say, don't forget our awesome current events program, because that is a really fabulous resource. It's 2 lesson plans every day, usually on a different reading level for the articles with these higher order discussion questions. And you can, really get some good. We've talked in the past about, students really needing to learn how to respectfully discuss and debate things and listen to one another, not just the students, the teachers, the adults, everybody
everybody,
as a society as a whole, we kind of need to work on that a bit.
We do.
But it's a really great program with our current events. So highly recommend that.
It is, and I just want to say something else. I did a show this morning about a school district's attitude towards substitute teachers, and we talked about changing that paradigm to the word guest teachers. Okay, they're not substituted. They are guests in the school, and they are professionals. Okay, and they're there to do a job, and they do it if we do everything right. And I just want to say, okay, and I'll use myself as the example. When I was a teacher years ago, if I knew I was going to take a day off or whatever, I'd leave a crummy lesson plan because it was just have the kids watch a movie, something like that. Okay, and don't even discuss it. It was just ridiculous. All right. But with the materials you guys offer, it was ridiculous. Okay, when I think back on it, I just laugh. But okay, and I wasn't alone in that, by the way. Okay, I wasn't alone in that, by the way. So my point is, there are materials out there that are just terrific. Okay, and are usable and easy, and they make it. They create a dialogue between the kids and the teacher or a guest teacher, whatever the case may be. I just hope everybody goes over to isit.com. Why do I have isit.com?
Isit.org.
Yes, why do I have isit.com? I just realized that. I'm going to change that right now. Okay, I looked at it in my description here of the show, and I have isit.com for some reason. It's isit.org. I knew that. All right, please check it out. It's really just great stuff. Obviously, Adobe mistake. It's going to be changed in about 2 seconds. Okay, I always think of you guys, and I'll go to Susan on this one. Susan, okay, you guys are big in social studies and civics. Okay, and you've in ELA and that sort of thing, and I love the work you do in that. But we've done a couple of shows on this in career and technical education, which I think is so very important these days. All right, and CTE, and by the way, I want to tell you guys, we were Kim, the president of the CTE Teachers Association in Pennsylvania, a whole association. We're going to do a show. We had a tech glitch. We scheduled it for January 4th. She just got busy and totally forgot about it. So we're rescheduled into February. Okay, and we're all set. And I'll let you guys know because you guys facilitated that introduction, which I appreciate. And Kim and I are working together to get this thing to actually happen. And believe me, it will because she's delightful. She's going to bring a student on with her. Okay, I just want to go into this first. Okay, you guys went to the association, ACTE, the Association for Career and Technical Education in Las Vegas, their conference. Okay, this is sort of a new area for you, and I think an extremely important area. Who wants to do it, Susan or Dean? Who should I go to?
That's Dean's area of expertise.
It's Dean's baby. Go for it, Dean. Talk.
Well, I think the first question I asked in my interview process for this position, having left the Department of Ed in New Hampshire as the work-based learning coordinator, is can we move towards CTE? That's pretty much an area that isn't just vital, but I see it booming, and it is. And I was lucky enough and be blessed enough to have the leadership that hired me say yes, a team that's with me that says yes. And moving ahead, the idea was I looked at the 12 ACT standards. I'll be very brief. And they gave 12 ideas of what a career tech education class should be. The problem was there wasn't anything along with that in the sense of competencies. Having worked with Fred Bramante, having been if you will, trained in competency-based education and writing, I put together my own competencies assigned to those 12 standards. I then work up here in New Hampshire with a group of educators that have been with me since 2014, superintendents, HR VPs, that really built a work-based learning group. Those are people that move communities, move mountains with some of the projects I've done. So we put competencies to them. We then said, okay, let's pilot this and see how it goes. So the pilot went out, got some invaluable feedback. We even did a community college up here in New Hampshire, Lakes region, community college.
Good.
A colleague said, let me try it. And the resounding response was, shouldn't financial literacy be a mandatory class in high school? I started laughing and said, yes.
Hello.
And we went through the facets of, ding, ding, ding. But
I got to stop you for 1 second. Okay, most kids have trouble with math. Okay, and I'm one of them. I'll just use myself as an example. You push kind of off to the side, you just kind of struggle to get through, and that's the end of it. But financial literacy is math, okay, and understanding how to do all this sort of stuff and the logic behind it and all that sort of thing, okay? And to have financial literacy really be part of the high school curriculum is so damn important on so many levels. So I just had to say that. You're dead on right there, Dino.
No, I agree with you, Larry, and a lot of states are moving to make it mandatory.
It's crazy.
But here's the thing. I think that's not just the answer. So when we looked at the writing of the curriculum, and I said, okay, there's the tripod. There, you've got the financial, digital, and health literacy, right? You got to figure that out. You have to have students on that. You also have to have employability. It's great to know how to save money, but you need a job. How do you get that? So there's interviewing tips, mock interviews, generic job descriptions, judges' score sheets, rubrics. So we got all that covered. Then I said, what's the next? Work-based learning. Well, isn't work-based learning really bringing real-world, authentic experience from the classroom out into the field beyond the lab? So we put all those three together, and rather than just say a financial literacy, we say career readiness. Why? Because while it seems to be stationed or placed in CT, any teacher, social studies, could use this curriculum and infuse it in theirs to get through employability. You're telling me that there's kids that might be in your English class that aren't going to the military, job, or college. So we tried it out. Kim, that you mentioned, Kim Koslow, is joining me February 9th and 10th. I'll be at the Pennsylvania CT Leadership Conference presenting WIN. She is going to come in and basically sing praises. I'm so happy to work with her.
She's great.
Last night, I was on the phone with Jane Learning in Nevada, DOE. She is Social Studies Bureau and Work-Based Learning. She looked at it and she said the key to this is that states, Nevada being one of them, is looking towards competency-based. This is turnkey. It's done. So moving forward, is it's designing the coursework. I've got an incredible team that runs with it once I put it out there and help start to develop the process and write the competencies. The point is that states that are looking or are using competency-based, this is turnkey. And finally, the CTE teachers that have not gone through, as Kim has mentioned, the traditional college training for teaching. Right. They're looking for really good resources that are those turnkey that they can use anywhere, anytime. So I'm very excited about the launch. It went live. So it's on the isit.org website. If you go to courses and look at career readiness, we've got the student page up. Educators can download the actual, if you will, educator syllabus that has the competencies I've created. Students don't need to see that as much as obviously the educators, but we're live and we're very excited because we got some great testimonies already on it from the pilot.
I'm not surprised at that at all. And I want you to repeat what you said about Nevada. So what did you say about Nevada? Say it again. Nevada,
as I talked to my contact, she's in the Social Studies Bureau and also is work-based learning, Jane. And we had a good talk last night. I'm the ding-dong that didn't realize it's a 3-hour difference. So I scheduled for her time, 7 our time. So, and she is probably one of the most dynamic educators. So, Jane, if you're ever listening to Archive, she is one of the most dedicated educators. No matter what you throw at her, she just keeps persevering and making it work for kids. And she said what she liked about the syllabus was that it is competency-based. Nevada's looking to that. So I'm assuming that we'll be out there in April. I threw that date out to do some competency-based training in the WIN syllabus, as well as our Simply Civics that's there.
Yeah, I like Nevada. I know Joni Ebert, their state supervisor, state superintendent. Okay, yep. and I mean they're just terrific. And if you want to invite her onto the show, okay, your contact out there, please be my guest, and we'll set up a podcast. I would love to do that.
I'll see what I can do for our next podcast. That sounds great, Larry.
It doesn't have to be. It can be an additional one. Don't even just the next one we do. Whenever you want to do it,
I'll get her availability.
Great. Yeah, and we'll just make it happen. Okay, because that's the thing. I like what they do out there. Okay, and I know they struggle, by the way, in Las Vegas. Clark County's a big, unwieldy district. Okay, and they're doing their damnedest to make that work. Okay, that's a challenge for them. It really is. Okay,
they sure are.
But that said, the State Department is very, very good. Okay, and that's I have to say that. Okay, that's all there is to it. So that's okay. So that's CTE, and I think that's wonderful. And I agree with you, Dean. It does have to be infused into every school. And by the way, what grades? When you created all this, what grades were you thinking of?
Well, again,
that's
our
important.
sweet spot's always 9, 12, but I would say that for this program, when you could certainly do it 7th and up.
Great.
I think 7th might need a little more hand-holding, like anything, but it also depends on the class teacher doing it.
Yeah.
So for me, I realistically think this could be a 7th and up.
Then it probably can be
use
a 7th
a lot of
and
the
up.
materials. Yeah.
Yeah, and I hope people go over this. So it's under course descriptions over at isit.org, right?
Yeah, if
course
you go to the home page, and you'll see the top bar, and it'll say courses. You'll go the first one. It'll say career readiness. I think it's alphabetical, and you just hit that. You'll see a student page. Educators who are signed up can get the actual syllabus and download the syllabus.
It's so darn important. And by the way, I did correct. It's isit.org, everybody. I don't know why the heck I put isit.com. I know that by heart. It just my fingers did different from what my brain said when I set up the show. So it's isit.org. It's changed now. Okay, I couldn't believe it when I saw that. Thanks, Dean. That was a good overview. Susan, social studies. You guys, it's a sweet spot for you guys, social studies. And I know you went to Philly to the conference, of the NCSS conference. Okay, so what'd you hear out there, and how does it? There's another interesting question. We go to conferences, of course, we want to make teachers aware of what we do, et cetera, et cetera. But there's all kinds of conversations and networking and all that sort of stuff. What'd you hear out there? What was the scuttlebutt? Yeah, the scuttlebutt, in social studies, that sort of stuff. What'd you hear? How does it change what you do?
Scuttlebutt in education overall, is not going to come a shock to any of your listeners who are in education, and that is, there are issues besides equity. Yeah. There are issues, as you mentioned, the whole substitute versus guest, teacher. And actually, I like that. By the way, because I think
isn't that good?
Thinking of someone as a guest automatically means you should treat them in a certain way, right? So I like that. That's an interesting concept. I like that.
It's a change of the paradigm. And I was, by the way, Dean knows Western Massachusetts. That's from the Center for Responsive Schools out there. They came up with that.
Oh, wow.
Okay, and they're working on it. So it's really cool.
It's
good stuff coming out of Western Massachusetts.
Yeah. Preconceived notions that the sub is there to just sub. And
put
a placeholder.
Right.
Yeah.
I use the example. It's like Prince Harry's new book, Spare. Okay, and that's the way they approached him, as a spare prince. So it's like the way you take good care of your spare tire. You really don't, because it's a spare tire. Okay, and the same thing with a substitute teacher. They're a spare, and we got to get out of that mindset.
Right.
That's absurd.
Yeah, but one of the other things that I heard from one of my teachers who I've chatted with and worked with for almost 10 years, for 10 years now, and he spoke to the concept that he has never seen so much apathy in his students. So the thing about that, again, how does that, because they're the pandemic has sort of numbed them, and he said he's never seen that.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the beauty of what, how does that impact what we do? Well, that means that we need more of these impactful programs, entertaining and fun, that like Dean has already come up with, the virtual international passport, the field trip program, the unlock and beat the clock program, because those are the kinds of things and that kids almost can't help themselves but get interested and engaged with. So those are the kinds of things, using materials that we already have in different exciting ways that are going to really engage these reluctant learners. That's something we're going to be focusing on as well.
Yeah, and it's interesting you brought that up, that this gentleman had never seen the students so apathetic. But then you look, and I'll just use the 2-year anniversary a couple of days ago of January 6th, okay? And we all watched that. And none of us should be apathetic about what happened that day, okay? And I'm not talking politically here. I'm just talking about the events of that day, okay? which I think, by the way, we're, of course, dead wrong, all right? But my point is, this is not a time for kids to be apathetic, and they're apathetic because they are inundated with all kinds of sources of information from social media, TV, cable, all the apps, et cetera, et cetera. It used to be, when I was a kid 12 million years ago, you only had a few sources of information, okay?
Right.
Now, which was actually throwing
channels.
rocks with cuneiform on them. That's the way we got information when I was a kid, hieroglyphics, all right? And if they hit you on the head, you would read it. But seriously, the kids are inundated with stuff, and a kid can't organize their mind like that, so they go to what's easiest, okay? And that's where they are. And teachers, all educators, have to recognize this. I think they are, okay? You have to find the things that engage these kids, and then the apathy disappears if they are engaged, okay?
Absolutely.
It's that simple. Okay, because you're fighting, you're just a live social media avatar when you're in front of them in the classroom. Okay, you're fighting all that. Okay, go ahead, Dean. Do you want to say something? Yeah, go, buddy.
Yeah, the other part of the equation is, there is a learning loss. No one can deny that. It's greater now than it's ever been in our nation, certainly in world history. Right, SAT, ACTs are the lowest they've ever been. Where I'm going with this is, you got the teacher who may be covering for a teacher who's out, because we're seeing that. We're seeing a lot of the teachers and administrators leaving. But you've got a lot to do in a very limited time. And not that I'm putting is it there, but I'm putting is it there. Teachers don't have a lot to vet. They've got to rely on stuff that's good, that's going to work, that someone else may have talked or referenced. So right now, while it seems to be a very big time for getting stuff and trying to do these things, you also have teachers that have never been this stressed and have these many demands upon them to stay the course. That in and of itself is an award, I think. And knowing that they've got to play catch up of a year and a half, sometimes two, giving up preps, covering other classes. I mean, at the end of the day, we're hoping that the materials are really a primary material, that a teacher can just take it, rely on it, know that it'll help them, it'll assist them, and hopefully, as Susan has always stressed, the critical thinking part. It's great to say you're doing it, but do you know how to do critical thinking? So we're trying to do more professional development to not just model this stuff, but what are those things outside of our materials? And critical thinking is critical listening. Do you let the kids respond, or you just answer it right away? Because that's not critical thinking. So it's those kinds of things I think we need in 2023. Susan and I and team have put together our resolutions. And some of those things are when she comes back to a conference and does the download to me and the team. And we're like, oh, my gosh. Yep, we're trying to put the hole in all the cracks in the dam, right? But we hear teachers. And I think I want to let Susan add the rest of it, but I think we're trying our best to listen to what teachers need, and we're doing everything we can to try and address those needs. Obviously, we can't do everything, but when we hear 12 or 15, and this is a common thread, we're trying to respond to those. What can we do as a resource to help you, albeit professional development, curriculum writing, whatever the case may be. We're trying to not be the one-size-fits-all. We're trying to be, what do you need, and let's tailor this to get more effectiveness in the classroom with little resources in your district or that you're allowed to utilize.
Wow. Well said, my friend. Well said. And I'll tell you guys, I've always been there, okay, with the stuff that teachers need, okay? And it's great stuff, and I cannot emphasize this enough, as I've always done. This is big. How many, Dean, I want to ask you, how many teachers have used, I want to make sure people understand this. How many teachers are on your list, so to speak, have used
we have served is it 16? I think it's over 400,000 that have utilized our materials.
Right.
So, with that being said, is it growing? Yes. We're now in an area we've never addressed, the career tech ed. I want to be hopefully optimistic. I want to be the half full. I think the numbers will exponentially grow because I think we have something no one else has in this space for now.
You do. It's wonderful stuff what you have, and it's just incredible. Okay, so what's planned for 2023? Okay, now you've already kind of talked about it. Do we need to know more? What's going on? Okay, as you put together the CTE.
Susan, I'll let you start off a couple.
Susan,
it's
Susan's baby.
Oh.
Go ahead, Susan. Yeah.
Okay. Well,
By the way,
Susan.
By the way, I just want to say this. Susan, besides being an excellent educator, director of education, I haven't said this. Okay, she's a USA Today best-selling author. Okay. She
Bless
actually
you, man.
is.
The check's in the mail. There you go.
Name
yes.
the book. Name the book. Name the book.
Oh my gosh! Well, I have a trilogy that's out. That it was one of the trilogy that it's a hero to keep, a family to keep, and a promise to keep. And it's the second book in the trilogy that hit the USA Today list a couple times. So
there you go. There you go.
All right, new stuff. Okay. New stuff for Is It? We are working on a new season 2 of Pup's Short Tales, and those are our roughly 2-minute animated videos, historical, fun cartoons that not only talk about historical characters, but that talk about virtues, things like persistence and trustworthiness and all those kinds of wonderful things. We've got a lot of other things coming out in the next 6 to 8 months about all kinds of things, from banned books to the Scopes trial to a piece about Ida B. Wells. So a lot of really good stuff and some other things. I'm going to throw it over to Dean and let him talk about some of the other stuff that's coming up.
Go for it, my friend Dean Graziano.
We're very fortunate. Steve Forbes has done we have the first season. We're doing the edit and the work. He has done what's called Forbes on Achievement. And there are 10 episodes. And what really, as a social studies teacher, you'll appreciate this, Larry, and the audience, stuff like the Harvey Girls, where it talks about how, if you want to think about almost like a franchise, what's great is I could do that as a history lesson. I could also do it in my culinary class. I could do it in my marketing class. He talks about Frank Woolworth. So, again, there's business, there's marketing, there's the career tech education. We've got Ruth Handler, the Barbie piece. You want to talk about success that dropped. He's got that. So we're happy. We've got 10 episodes we're working on next season already. These are amazing pieces. Probably you could fit it into a class between, like, I'm going to say the lowest to the highest in terms of time-wise. You're looking at no more than about 14, 16 minutes. They're amazing to infuse. So if you're talking and you're in a business class, or you're introducing the times and you talk about what it was like in the West, as you break Reconstruction and go into the turn of the century, it's some really great stuff. It's loaded with primary sources, the pictures, the documentation. It's really cool stuff. So if I sound a little excited, I think it's absolutely wonderful. Partnership for Is It? I think that's great. The Is It Here, which is our mobile classroom for the 25. It was 27. They kind of 2 of them combined. So we're out in Western Pennsylvania bringing career tech education down to the lower grade levels. Just to be clear and give New Hampshire, I did it first in New Hampshire with MAPS, Mobile Access to Possibilities. So we have a mobile classroom that's under a grant, not Perkins, like I did here in New Hampshire, that's getting down and actually sharing the power of career tech ed at younger grades. It's already great when you have a 10th grader that he or she knows what they're going to maybe choose to do or take as a class, but it's a lot more powerful when you see a 4th or 5th grader getting that aha moment. That sounds pretty cool. What's that about?
It is pretty cool.
So
it is
we're
pretty
really
cool.
excited about that.
Yeah.
So
what's the name of the bus? What's the name of the bus? Wait, you have the bus. What's the name of the bus? The mobile
it's called Is It Here? Simply put, Is It Here?
Thank you.
And it's going to be showcased at the PACTE, and then we were asked to come back in July at Penn State for the whole statewide career tech piece. So, yeah, we're excited. I mean, like I said, the relationship with Kim has been absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah, she's great.
It's great when you sit and you talk. What do you need? What could be changed? You take feedback, and I think that's the power of Is It. We're led by teachers. Some of us are award-winning authors, which is awesome. Some of us have won a bunch of state awards and stuff. So you're putting stuff together that it isn't just us thinking this stuff through and having our egos are checked. What's out there? What's the feedback?
Stuff.
How do we make this better for you that's actually using it? So I can't tell you there's even more coming. We had kind of our Christmas party the week before Christmas, and we put up this kind of whiteboard of all the stuff, and there wasn't any empty space between now and going into 2024. I'll finish with one thing that Fred Brabanti is going to jab me if I don't. Fred and I are co-chairing the National Presidential Youth Convention. So everyone that's hearing that, it's the National Presidential Youth Convention, tying New Hampshire's First in the Nation and Ukinets and El Sununu. It's not going to happen. It is the First in the Nation convention where we will be using the SNU Center. We will be inviting with governor support and now state school boards. We'll be bringing students in to actually not just hear the candidates and talk, but combining civics and civility. The price of admission is schools have to come in with a civility poster we're going to place, and they're going to tell us how they think we should be acting, how we should listen to other people's opinions and respect. They're our future. They're the ones that are going to be the voters down the road. We need to start, I don't want to say correct how we deal with people, how we acknowledge and respect others. So the big piece of this is civics and civility. iCivics is involved. We've got quite a team going, and we're garnering more and more support. So we're very excited about that. So again, it's civics and civility, the National Presidential Youth Convention. I'm on the education chair. We're going to be using our civics fundamentals as a prerequisite, so kids have some knowledge coming in to impact the student experience. We've got a really great event planning. So
I want to devote a whole podcast to that, Dean, at some point.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I would like to do that. Yeah. Will you keep me
That'd
in the
be great.
loop on that? Can you remember that?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. And the other thing is, you mentioned something, and I think I know what you're talking about. You said the SNU Center. Do you mean Southern New Hampshire
Southern
University?
New Hampshire University Convention. Yeah. It holds about 10,000.
Yeah.
And if you're a New Englander that hears this, we have Recycled Percussion is going to do a concert for the kids after everything is done. They sold
When
out
is
the
it? When is
Palace
this? When's this going to be?
January 26, 2024. That'll be when the candidates will be here.
Okay.
So we're going to have all the lesson plans and materials done by the end of the spring, and it'll go out in August for 23-24 school year. The prerequisite materials, the event itself, we're garnering and trying to get as many New England teachers to help us with the curriculum.
Right. And we will help you. We will help you.
Yep.
So as soon as you get the stuff together, just please let me know. Okay.
I'll have Fred make the contact, and we'll go from there. That'll be perfect.
Yeah, just make a note somewhere. Yeah, you're welcome. And I do want to actually attend it if we can. So, okay, happy to drive down to New Hampshire. I'll be there. Okay,
you will be there. Yeah, absolutely.
Right. This is cool. I mean, I just love this whole idea. It's just great stuff. And everybody, it's at isit.org. Everything Dean's talking about, you can get in touch with Dean and ask him further. Everything's at isit.org, and that is great stuff. And Susan and Dean just work forever to make it better, and their team make it better and better and
Larry,
better. Yes, buddy?
Last thing I'd like to say, so all the listeners here, and it's archived, so I'm on the record. I am so happy Susan is coming up on her decade at isit.org in about a month and a half. And I just want to do because it's people like that just are dynamic educators with a love of what they do. And I don't think we recognized enough, so I'd like to recognize her for everyone to hear. Dynamic staff all together makes great things happen.
Yeah, she is great. Congratulations, Susan.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
It's a great place to be. We're doing important stuff. We're doing important stuff.
And we just love it. I just love having you guys on, and congratulations to you. That's a big deal. Okay, 10 years. That's pretty good. And what's it like now? 10 years have passed. You're 35 years old. What happens next?
Wow. Yeah.
There you go. Okay. Or was that 25? Was that 25? Was that 25? You were trying.
Some days I still feel like that, but then other days it makes it plain that years have passed, Larry.
winter in Erie, winter in Maine, winter in New England can do that for you. Okay.
It sure can.
Hey, congratulations.
Yeah, no matter how old you are. Thank you.
That's great. Congratulations to Isit for having such a good company. She's there for 10 years and ain't going anywhere. Okay, I think it's great. Okay, thank you both. You're wonderful. Appreciate it.
Larry,
okay?
have a great day. Thank you, sir.
Thanks, Larry.
You too, and we're going to stay in touch on all this and plan more shows, etc. Get me that Nevada person. Come on with her, Dean. Okay?
I'll do my best, and have Fred reach out to you about the National Presidential Youth Conference.
Absolutely. We're on your side, buddy. We'll do everything we can for you. Okay?
Thanks.
All right. Thanks, Larry. Take care.
Happy New Year to both of you. Congratulations, Susan.
You too.
Bye-bye, guys.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay, isIt.org. Need I say it again? They're great, okay? And it's great free resources, okay? Please, no such thing as an under-resourced school if you take the time to find great stuff, okay? So go do it, okay, and keep those kids engaged. IsIt.org. We're going to archive at ace-ed.org. I'm Larry Jacobs. Thanks for listening.